Hello everybody and welcome back to the Fit Curls. As you can see, I am not quite as done up as usual. I'm actually working with day 4 or 5 hair here and it's a little stretched out and I haven't refreshed it because I'm about to go hop in the shower and wash it so that I can give myself a haircut. If you haven't subscribed already, make sure that you do so right now. Don't forget to hit the little bell icon next to it to make sure that you get a notification every single time that we post, which is every Friday afternoon. I'm going to be taking the advice of every professional that I could possibly find on the YouTube when it comes to cutting my own curly hair. So fingers crossed that I'm not going to screw this up. I'm really actually nervous. So keep watching to see if I completely botch this mess. And let's do this thing. Change of scenery. Today we are filming in my bathroom, if it wasn't obvious by the roll of toilet paper behind me, because I want to make sure that I can actually clean up all of this hair. And it's better for this to be private. Today I am going to be attempting to follow Mains by MELL's tutorial. I am obviously doing a wet cut today because I want to get a really nice clean shape into my hair. So here we go. To start, I sectioned out my bangs, which I did by balancing that comb right at the front of my forehead, and wherever the comb started to lift off my head, that's where I sectioned my bangs out from. The bangs were a pretty crucial part for me to get correct because I wanted some good face framing layers, and those were some of the parts of my hair that were really the most grown out and therefore weighed down. So I wanted to get a really nice clean diagonal shape from shorter in the middle to longer on the sides. What you're seeing here is me sectioning out my guide. I took a tiny triangle as per MELL's instructions right where my hair normally likes to part, sectioned off and clipped away the rest, and here is where I made my first cut. Okay, first piece is cut. The next step was to use that guide that I cut right at the center as my marker for how much to cut off as I over-directed that entire section across my face in order to get that face framing diagonal, shorter in the middle, longer on the sides. And it was at this moment that I realized I was not trained for this. I had watched videos, I had studied as much as I could, but handling the comb, the scissors, and actually keeping my fingers tight enough and in the right place to make sure that I cut what I needed to and only what I needed to get my desired shape was really freaking hard. There's a reason we go to professionals for this type of thing. As you can see, it took me at least 3 tries to actually get it right. That looks really nice. Okay, now I have to do the same thing on the other side. This is not taking a short amount of time. And here we go again. Now, I will say, after getting it wrong multiple times to finally get it right on the first side, it was substantially easier to do it the second time around. This side only took 1 try before I took the other side out of the clip just to double check that everything was nice and even. Okay, here's where we've gotten to so far. I'm actually really impressed with how this looks so far. And we're gonna move on to the rest. So my hair is currently parted where it really likes to fall. I'm gonna be taking diagonal sections and over directing them forward and out to kind of create my layers. Here we go. Full disclosure, what you're seeing me do here is actually my plan B. My original plan was to try and follow the tutorial that MELL used to teach her sister, Amanda, how to cut her own hair. But here's the problem. My hair is not nearly long enough to successfully pull off a unicorn cut and actually get all of the layering in that I wanted. So I went back to square one. I went to MELL's original tutorial where she shows how she cuts her own hair at home, and I basically just hoped and prayed that I wasn't going to completely screw up what was happening on my head. As you can see, I started out very, very conservative with the amount of length that I was taking off. I tried to follow the patterns that she did with her sectioning when she was cutting her own hair, really over directing straight up and then trying to bring it forward so I at least could see what the heck I was doing with those scissors. That was probably the hardest part, honestly, was just trying to make sure that I got an even line with the scissors and could actually see what the heck was happening. I wanted to get the length even on both sides and all around my head, create a really clean, rounded shape in my layers, a little bit shorter in the front to just the tiniest bit longer in the back. And I wanted to create more distinction in my layers as well, as I had started to notice that I was getting the dreaded triangle head. The top of my hair was getting weighed down, and I was noticing all of my volume towards my mids and ends rather than almost any at the roots. My roots were starting to lie really, really flat on my head. Now, I didn't exactly expect any of this to be easy, but I will say that the hardest part for me was when I started moving around and trying to cut layers into the back of my hair. My hair is not super long. I'd put it at a solid medium length. So trying to over direct those back sections all the way forward and then cut my hair where I could actually see what I was doing with the scissors proved to be the greatest challenge of the whole exercise. Once I got that down though, I got a lot more confident in cutting a little bit more length off to really create that distinction in my layers and find a nice even shape all the way around. Plus, I only cut myself with the scissors once. For my first time, I'd call that a win. I'd say the biggest mistake that I made was not initially cutting a consistent length off of each section that I took. I very much started out with a very just kind of tiny trim, following what I thought was a guide, but I never really cut a guide for any of the sections, so I don't know what I was following. But as I went along, I realized I should have been taking a very consistent amount off of each of these sections. So I actually went through my entire head again and made sure that I took about 3/4 of an inch off. Do I wish I had done that from the beginning? Absolutely. But at least I was very careful about checking my length and layers in the mirror as I went along to make sure that they were as consistent as possible. If absolutely nothing else other than a change in the shape and length of my hair, this gave me a huge appreciation to what licensed cosmetologists and hairstylists do every single day of their lives for a living. I will never take a haircut for granted ever again. So, here's what we've got after the wet cut. Show you the back. Okay, now I'm gonna go ahead and get this nice and wet. I'm gonna style my hair and I will be back to see if there are areas that I need to refine dry. Hey guys. I think I love it. I am shocked. Like, legitimately, completely surprised at how happy I am with how this haircut turned out. Here's the back. Rounded layers, check. A nice, beautiful cascade down the side of my head, that stacking action, check. Much more volume and life at the top and crown of my head, check and check. I am so incredibly impressed with how this turned out and how much life and movement I have in my haircut now. Not to mention how much healthier my ends look. My bottom layers are curling better than they have in months. Now, I do not advise you guys to do this at home. When given the opportunity, the next time I need a trim, I will be going to a professional. But all things considered, for a quarantine time, self-done, very first time ever haircut, I am so pleased. So that is it for today's video, you guys. Thank you so much for watching. Even if you were just here to double check if I completely embarrassed myself with this haircut, I am honestly really glad that I didn't. If you really like this video and you want more like it, more experiments, more actual hair processes, give this video a thumbs up. It lets me know what direction you guys want the channel to go. Again, if you haven't already, make sure that you click that subscribe button. We post videos every Friday afternoon, and with that, thank you guys again so much for watching, and I will see you all next time. Bye!